Hi YouTube. You might find me incredibly prolific this weekend because I have a lot to say. If you remember a while back I did a video called This Is What the End Looks Like about my mother and her situation because I honestly believed that she was not long for this world at that time. So she pulled through then, obviously, but now we are back to that point. She went back in the hospital in mid-April with another flare-up of the infection. This time, it's progressed to the point where the strongest IV antibiotics they have aren't touching it. And for many, many, many complicated reasons, she is actually inoperable. And the blood issue is well down among the last 10 of those issues. So, yeah. Well, recently, the hospital has decided to get hospice involved and to consider putting her in hospice care and stopping the aggressive antibiotic treatment altogether. Now, if they do that, they tell us that she has basically 8 to 10 weeks left to live, and some of that may or may not involve her being coherent or with it in any way. So, it's a terrible situation any way you slice it, but it's particularly bad because we're not a normal family. It's because of the Jehovah's Witness related dysfunction here. First, as I may have told you before, several years ago she appointed an elder in her congregation as her health care power of attorney, mostly because of the blood issue, even though that wasn't even an issue at the time, but whatever. Now, up until about a week ago, all of the hospitals, all of her doctors, the nursing home, everyone called me about everything because I'm the person who has the history. I'm the person who's been there for the last 5, 10, ever how many years. And so I'm the one they called. Last week, when the first hospice conversation happened between her and the hospital staff, for no apparent reason, my mother told them not to communicate with me anymore and to give all of her information to this elder. So because of this, I found out from him that the doctors were considering stopping treatment. I found out from him that this really is the last time that we're going through this, that my mother is going to die very soon. Now that's pretty hard to take. Even though I will say, this is a nice guy. This elder's a nice guy. He's genuinely a good person, and I can tell he's very uncomfortable to be put in this position. Even when my mother has pressured him to preach to me, he's always been very respectful and understanding when I said I had absolutely no interest whatsoever in discussing religion or ever becoming a Jehovah's Witness again. Just no. He's been very kind to my sister and I really do appreciate that. But I also know that he will never speak to me again once my mother passes, because I'm not a real person. Right. So I heard from my aunt who lives in another state that there was to be a family meeting to discuss the hospice situation. Once again, I'm here, about an hour away, but I have to call another state. Yeah. Then the elder, of course, confirmed this with me, and so that's how I found myself in a hospital room full of doctors, nurses, my aunt, grandmother, uncles, my sister, and this elder. All of us wrapped in plastic gowns and gloves because she's an infection risk. And let me tell you how I was greeted when I walk into this meeting. I walked in the door, and one of my uncles, who is the same one that I did a video about a while back, who was holding some money for my mother, naturally, he hands me a piece of paper. There's no hello, there's nothing, just hands me this piece of paper. And so I looked at it, and it is a handwritten addendum to my mother's will, signed by my mother, this uncle, and my aunt, stating that he is going to get her handicap van when she dies. Because obviously that's legal, and it's obviously the most important thing in the world at that moment to make sure that kick in the teeth is delivered immediately upon my entering the room. So let's break down why this is so hurtful and infuriating. My mother orchestrated this entire thing for the sole purpose of twisting the knife because she knows damn well that neither I nor my sister want that van. Okay? She's the one who wrote her will anyway, which leaves everything to me and my sister. If my mother wanted him to have that van, she could have just said, hey, I want your uncle to have the van. And we would have said, great, all his. She knows this. She knows this. This was a slap in the face on purpose, and everybody in the room knew it. So when we went out into the hallway, because Mom was very upset about being told that she can't go home to her farm before she dies, it's just not possible, I told the whole group how offended I was and that I was really disgusted with them. And my uncle protested that, of course, it was all Mom's idea. It's not his fault. And once again, I had to remind him that just like the money situation, I actually would expect him to have better judgment. But he doesn't. A fact that he proved a few minutes later in a conversation with the hospice nurse, where he asked if he could call ahead to hospice when he was coming to visit her so that they could take her off the pain medication so that she would be awake when he came and he wouldn't be wasting his time. The hospice nurse looked about as horrified as I was by this, and she said, sir, hospice care is about the patient's comfort, not yours. The other kick in the teeth of the day was delivered shortly after that, because my mother was given a choice of where she wanted to go when she leaves the hospital. My sister and I live an hour away from where Mom currently is, but within 5 miles of each other. And we had asked that she be sent to a facility near us so that we can spend time with her during her last months. But Mom told the hospice nurse that she would prefer to be near her spiritual family. She wants to be near the Kingdom Hall, even though those people don't even visit her. The only one who visits her every now and then is this elder who's a power of attorney. Yeah, she would rather be an hour away from us, and true to form, she's going to be mean and hateful to us until the bitter end and complain about how we never visit, despite the fact that she is deliberately making being around her as painful as possible. And I'm telling you this because I want people to understand that this is what Jehovah's Witnesses do to families. This is what it looks like. I have busted my ass to make sure this mean, hateful woman is taken care of. I have paid her bills for years. I've continued to visit her despite of how she has treated me, especially in the last 20 years since I've not been a Jehovah's Witness. I feel like I have done everything I can do. I have done way more than should be expected of any normal, rational, sane person. But she honestly believes that treating me like this is just and righteous, and that Jehovah's going to reward her for it. I know that I can't be the only one dealing with this, and worse. So, to others in similar situations, you are not alone. Don't let the bastards grind you down.